So we have a very good definition of Kurukshetra as to the north, to the south of Saraswati and to the north of Drishatvati. So correspondingly, the region to the south of Drishatvati, that is the region to the south of Kurukshetra, is called Kurujangala. So this region to the south of Kurukshetra is called Kurujangala. So its northern definition is very clear. Northern definition is that it is bounded by the Drishatvati in the north. And the southern extent of Kurukshetra, what is the southern boundary of Kurukshetra? It is not well defined. So it may be, so the southern boundary of Kurujangala. So northern boundary of Kurujangala is the Drishatvati river. So what is the southern boundary of Kurujangala? We don't know. So typically, because there are mountains here, these are these small things you are seeing. These are the northernmost points of the Aravalli mountain ranges, which start from Gujarat actually. So to the northern part of Gujarat, like Mount Abu, etc., is there. From the Gujarat up to the southern part of Haryana, we have the Aravalli mountains. It's also called Pariyatra mountain, etc. in the Mahabharata, actually. Pariyatra, one of the Kula Parvatas. So that this western mountain ranges, starting with the northern Gujarat, ending in the southern part of Haryana. Small, you can see here, small mountains here. And it extends up to the southern border of Delhi. So, maybe this Kurujangala extended from the south of Drishatvati up to these Aravalli mountain ranges. So this is the area of Kurujangala, like this Kurujangala region. And inside the Kurujangala, the Pandavas established the city of Indraprastha, that is currently today Delhi. So that is inside the Kurujangala. So that is why in the Mahabharata, we say that the Dhritarashtra asked them to go to Kurujangala, and then they went to Kurujangala as their share of the half of the kingdom and established the city of Indraprastha in the Kurujangala. That is, but wherever this red dot, I am putting it here, along the Shifa river, again another Ṛgvedic river mentioned in the middle Ṛgveda. So here they have established the Indraprastha. And Indraprastha is, of course, is part of Kurujangala. And Kurujangala also means Kuru's jungle. It's like a semi-forest area where there are no big cities, etc. That is why Dhritarashtra very cunningly sent them to this jungle. The Kurujangala is a jungle, Kuru jungle. So there they sent them. And these people, they are hardworking people, though, because of that they established a city there and become very important city. And that is why, and Sri Krishna has was the guide for making the city of Indraprastha, because Krishna had earlier experience of reviving the lost cities in the Kushasthali island. So he went there and that Kushasthali island, he termed it as Dwaraka, and in that Dwaraka he established a new city on the ruins of a pre-existing Harappan city. So that the experience is with Sri Krishna. So he came and advised Pandavas how to build a new city, and that is how the Indraprastha is built. And because of Krishna's grace, that place is even now significant. And now I don't think it is a coincidence, but it is primarily because of the grace of Krishna that same city became the capital of India, and we are still having Delhi as our capital, because that was the ancient Indraprastha, but which is established based on the guidance of Krishna. And he is also, because of that, Krishna is called a Rashtra Purusha. That is already many of the ancient sages and modern gurus also consider Krishna as the Rashtra Purusha because of this same thing. He has got a certain power, aura, because of which whatever city he has chosen to build in the Kurujangala still continue to be a major city for the entire country. And Krishna is one of the oldest person to think about a Rashtra. That is why he was searching for kings who can be having the caliber of becoming an emperor. And he found Yudhishthira as the matching with his expectation because of his righteousness, etc. But some weakness was there, but weaknesses were not very, minor. But he has all the qualities to become an emperor. because he was not having any selfishness and like that. He was caring about everybody and always sacrificing, etc. So that traits Krishna found, and Yudhishthira also was a relative of Krishna, like son of his aunts. Kunti is like Pitrashvasha of Krishna, that is aunt of Krishna. So that is father, sister, son. So because of all this, he has established Yudhishthira as the king of Indraprastha, and then supported him to do the Rajasuya, which is basically a kind of a political attempt to become an emperor. So he supported Krishna, but because of some weakness of the, Yudhishthira, he got into that vicious cycle of game of dice and lost everything, and everything ended up in Kurukshetra war. And then because of the strategies of Krishna, we recovered the kingdom, and then he ruled for 36 years as more or less like an emperor of Bharatavarsha. These aspects I am mentioning in the third book of the Mahabharata. So with that, we'll conclude and look for some questions, etc.
Sir, from the diagram that you were showing, we see that the upper channel of Trishadvati is in the earlier names as Hariupya, and the lower channel now we have um, Raupya and another name, correct? So, what is the marker to divide it as a upper channel and lower channel, sir?
Yeah, nothing. There is no marker. So primarily, what happens is the best way to describe this is like this is a single river, Drashadvati, right? The name Drashadvati applies for the entire course of the river, in which in the early Rigveda, the upper part of the Drashadvati river is separately mentioned as Hariupya, in comparison with the Yavyavati. Maybe I'll take the map once again.
Sure, sir.
So this entire river is correctly called as Drashadvati, with a lot of stones inside that. So the entire course is Drashadvati, out of which the Ṛgvedic poets have separated out this part and compared it with this part, Yavyavati, na? Because the two rivers, Hariupya and Yavyavati, are mentioned as flowing in parallel. That is the Ṛgvedic context in which it is mentioned.
So till the point they are in parallel, we consider them as like
correct.
and Yavyavati.
So there is a bend here,
correct.
And from here, this is like see, for example, for defining Kurukshetra, right? The river is considered from this point onwards, because this part is parallel to Saraswati, whereas from here onwards, the river is parallel to Yavyavati.
Understood.
So this parallel two rivers flowing parallel. That is how the rishis noting down these two rivers as, like, they even mentioned that it is like two cows running together. So that these two rivers are compared to two cows, actually. The Hariupya and Yavyavati are mentioned together in a single verse and saying that they are running parallel. So that is the context in which the Hariupya and Yavyavati are mentioned. So basically, Drashadvati has a property that some point it is parallel to Saraswati, and then suddenly it becomes parallel to Yavyavati. And in the Rigveda, early sixth mandala of the early Rigveda, what is mentioned is that some enemies were fighting. So Srinjaya, the ancestor of the Panchala, Srinjaya, a very ancient king, and ancestor of Anavas, including Kavi Chayamana, the ancestor of Kavi Chayamana, that is Abhyavartin Chayamana. So at that time, there was no conflict between the Anavas and the Tritsus or Sanjayas or anybody. They were all together. Nah? Like there was a period when the Devas and Asuras were together. Nah? That is how in Puranas it will record. So, but in the actual historical is mentioned in the Rigveda. So Abhyavartin Chayamana, and that is representing the Anavas, and Srinjaya Devavata, that is an ancient king representing today's subsequent Panchalas, or even Panchala means like even all the Bharatas. So the Deva side is represented by the Srinjaya Devavata, and Asura side represented by Abhyavartin Chayamana. So they were all together, and they were like allies, and they were fighting battles together. They had a common enemy called Vrichivant, and the Vrichivans were cornered in this region because they were like this Srinjaya and Abhyavartin were moving forward like this, and the Vrichivans were retreating backwards. So at some point where the two rivers are very very much close by, they were stuck. They can't move anywhere. At this point, they were defeated. So this information is what is mentioned in the early Rig Veda, and that is where Haryupya and Yavivati are mentioned.
Got it, sir.
And Drishatvati is mentioned in subsequent sections. Drishatvati is mentioned actually.
Sure. Sir,
Yeah.
one more question.
Yeah.
If you can open that diagram again. You mentioned that Apaya is actually the older channel of, older path of Saraswati River, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And we see that there is a gap now, which is under that this one. And you mentioned that there is a now change in the course of Saraswati. So,
Correct.
is there any reference where we get to know why this change has happened in Saraswati and Apia is no longer fit, or how is the marker?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah. So the my inferences are based on the references in the mentions in the Rig Veda. So Apaya is very much active in the early Ṛgvedic period, and this is like in the 3000 BC period.
Right.
And second observation is, when we plot the channel of Apaya, how it plot is, well, you look at the satellite map imagery and hydrology maps. So you will be able to see the continuity of the river in the hydrology maps and in the satellite maps. So when you plot the course, what happens is that this course is very close to Manusha and Ilaspada, which are mentioned as very ancient places in the Rig Veda. So see, the references are in the early Rig Veda, but they are talking about the places of Manu and Ila. And Manu and Ila, everybody agrees they are earlier to early Rig Veda. So early Rig Veda is 3000 BC to 3000 BC, etc. Earlier to early Rig Veda means much more ancient. And when we look at some other Puranic and narrative to support our references, we may know that Manu escaped from a flood and settled in a particular spot, and that spot is we consider as a Manusha, which is the name after Manu, which is in Kurukshetra. That is why, and that Manusha is along this Apaya river. And even if you also look at the hydrological like channels of river Saraswati, the older channel will be flowing like this, which is currently its traces are available in hydrology maps, bathymetrical studies, as well as in the this Google map, this terrain map, and we can see in the Google all places this particular channel you can see.
Okay. Okay.
And in that, because of these things, like the oldest place mentioned in the Rig Veda is on its banks. The two places, Manusha and Ilaspada, is on its banks, and archaeological oldest place Birana also is on its banks. So this is very clearly an ancient river which is flowing during the 8000 BC to 3000 BC period. Even in Mahabharata, this river is not mentioned as flowing. It's almost a lost river during the period of Pandavas, etc., which we, as per my chronology, is around 1793 BC, Kurukshetra, etc. That time river was not flowing, but there is a glimpse of its existence in that Kurukshetra event where Arjuna was shooting an arrow.
Right.
And because why we are saying is, see, if Bhishma was Bhishma's fall was located somewhere else, like for example here, then we can't say this. But the Bhishma's demise, that Bhishma fall, as per tradition, it is again falling into the same path. Not here, but wherever this is connecting up to here. So in this course, the Bhishma was falling down.
So, sir, the place Ban Ganga, which is generally considered the place where Arjuna left the arrow, that Ban Ganga is actually in the plains of this
Yes.
path.
Yeah, that is a Bhishma. There is this place located for the Bhishma's fall as per the tradition, which is very close to the northeastern corner of the Kurukshetra, and it falls in the course of Apaya River.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is
So,
another data point that we have.
got it.
See,
One more question.
not always we take the traditional information, but if it matches with some of our analysis, then we take
Right.
that information. For
Okay.
example, in tradition, they will even say that in southern Kerala there is a rock and the Bhima was lifting that rock. So that kind of things we will reject actually
Right.
because
Right.
we don't have any kind of significance actually. But here there is a traditional location and it is matching with some of the geographical and no, chronological information.
Yes, sir.
Even
Sir,
in
one more,
yeah.
one more
Even
question that I, yes, sir,
in
continue,
West
sir.
Bengal also there are many rocks which they say.
Oh, it's across India, sir. Even in
Uh,
South India, many other places have like
Yeah, and they also say
Bhimas.
Nandigrama is in West Bengal where Bharata was living in as an ascetic. These are all not true because there is a Nandigram within some 15 kilometer from Ayodhya. That is where
Okay.
the Bharata was having the lived as an ascetic. So Nandigram in West Bengal have no significance because some interest, I mean, some enthusiast is just no, simply because of the name is Nandigram, he is just connecting it with Bharata, etc. Yeah, please continue.
Got it. So, one more question that I had was like during Mahabharata also we have the references of Saraswati, right? But it was already in like not that significant as that was in Rigveda. Was
Yeah.
that one of the reasons why suddenly Bharata, sorry, not Bharata, Bhishma was now associated with Ganga and the place where he got the water also, even though it was on the Saraswati river plains, that they associated it with Ganga?
Not exactly because the movement from Saraswati to Ganga took place somewhere during the Pradipa Shantanu period. And because, of course, because of this migration, they have the name of the ancient river in their memory, that is Apaya. So they started using that river name Apaya onto any river they went. So Ganga is one of the river. There is an eastward migration. So Ganga is the one of the river where they migrated. So naturally, as a generic term for the river, they use the word Apaya for Ganga. So Ganga is also called as synonymously. If you look at the synonyms of Ganga, one of the synonym will be Apaya.
Got
Like
it.
that. And then
So,
automatically Ganga Putra become Apaga Sudha. Both are
mhm.
same. Ganga Putra means
So
son of
this
Ganga.
naming
Apakasudha
of
means
Gangeya that is associated with Bhishma is like a later addition that might have come into the bardic system, sir.
no,
Because
no. For Bhishma and all, we don't have to think about later addition because he is very much part of the contemporary of the Kurukshetra, like Pandava period, etc. Right? Because he is a very central figure. We can't because out of 89,000 slokas in the Mahabharata, Bhishma will be referred for around even 20,000. He largely referred figure actually. So he is not. He is very much part of the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war period. Bhishma is very much fundamental because
no,
even
what I meant is the name Gangeya because he was Apakasuta. Was
uh,
that later converted as Gangeya or was it like the opposite? That Gangeya became a later reference to
no,
Apaya.
both are
That,
contemporary because see
okay.
what I'm saying is because the see for example the river Apaya is not actually a proper name, right? It's a generic name of a river. For example, see in the very ancient period in 8000 BC, the term Apaya means that particular Apaya river, and I have shown in the map the river of Kurukshetra because that is the only river they know, like because that is their local region. So then you call it just the Apaya simply means river actually. So I will tell you, like for example, Gangaya means son of Ganga. But Apaya means actually son of a river. For example, in your translations, like if you look at the Mahabharata translation of Vivek Debroy or somewhere, wherever in Sanskritam they see Gangeya, they will translate it as son of Ganga. Wherever there is a term Apaka Sudha for Bhishma, they will translate it as son of a river. See, that is like they consider the word Apaya or Apaka as a generic river name. It's like
Got it.
now it doesn't become a proper noun; it becomes a generic noun.
Got it. So
Like
from
that.
a proper noun to common noun, it was already converted. So
It's
people
already
will.
converted. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is no chronology between Apakasuda and Gangaya. They are all equal in chronological like evolution.
Got it, sir.
Sir, is there any historical record of contact between Tirgana and Harappan cities
Could you repeat Biran
and the Harappan city?
Yeah, I can you repeat the question because I heard Birana and Harappan cities, but I didn't
Yeah,
get the question.
is there any historical record of contact between Tirgana and Harappan city?
Contact because they are. This is all you can say like when you say contact. For example, if you can ask if there is any contact between Mesopotamian cities which are far away in the west, but these are Birana and Rakhigarhi are in their cradle itself, right? This is part of the cradle of their civilization. So, if you are asking whether the terms Purana and Rakhigarhi is part of any of our Mahabharata Ramayana, that is not because these are all recent names. So, these ancient settlements, they will be called by some other name, or they will be like a kind of a capital of some ancient king that is not mentioned in the Mahabharata or Ṛgveda. Because, see, for example, if you look at Bharata kings, only the line of Pandavas are mentioned properly in the Mahabharata. So there are so many Bharata kings who are much more famous Bharata kings, but they are not given importance in the Mahabharata or in some other literature because they don't fall in the lineage tree of the Pandavas and Kauravas. So my assumption is that Pirana and Rakhigarhi, these two cities were the cities of some king, some Bharata king, in the lineage, as a descendant of the king Bharata, but not part of the Pandava lineage. But there is one city that is very prominent, which is part of the even Mahabharata also. That city is actually in the middle of the Kurukshetra. Let me check whether I have mapped it. In the new book I have that is this Asandi. There is a city called Asandh, and it is a Harappan city. And somewhat kind of a chronology of around 2000 BC, 2500 BC. Asandh is a Harappan city inside the somewhat very exactly to the middle of the Kurukshetra. And this is considered as an ancestral city of the ancestors of the Pandavas and Kauravas. Like it can as well be the capital of Kuru, King Kuru, because it is in the right into the middle of the Kurukshetra. So that is the right place the Kuru can have a capital. And that Asand is a Harappan city which is well connected with the Kurukshetra geography, etc. So if you ask me, the word Ghurana and Rakhigarhi are not exactly with that name is not found in the Mahabharata or Ramayana, but this is like within that same geography, right? So the Rigveda very clearly mentioned about the Kurukshetra as a Vara Prithivya, with Saraswati and Rashadvati, etc., mentioned along with that region as the rivers in the Vara Prithvi, etc. So geographically, Rigveda doesn't give any kind of doubt that the same region is mentioned. So within that region, the Birana and Rakhigarhi are part of that region, and it may be referred with some other ancient names. So capital of some ancient kings, etc. Which doesn't found, no, which is not mentioned into the Rigveda or in the Mahabharata exactly like this is that capital, because all these books have basically there is a focus problem. They are focusing on a particular lineage. So other people, other kings in that same lineage, even if they are famous, they may not be getting a reference in this text. That is one thing, and even then In the second book of geography of Ramayana, I have brought in a proposition that this Rakhighari on the banks of Drishadvati or Birana on the banks of Saraswati, etc., are kind of ancient cities, ancient Ayodhya cities. Ayodhya cities means the cities which cannot be conquered. So highly fortified cities are called Ayodhya. So whatever Ayodhya you see on the banks of Sarayu River in Uttar Pradesh is one of the youngest city of Ayodhya. So there are many such fortified cities which can be termed as Ayodhya. And some of the ancient Ayodhya cities are part of the river Saraswati, and Birana is one of the important candidate to be considered as Ayodhya. Because in the Ramayana, there is a mention of, indirect mention of two Sarayu rivers. The Sarayu of Sagara and Sarayu of this Dasharatha are considered two different Sarayus. So naturally, there is a possibility of two different Ayodhya also. And whatever I proposed in the second book of the geography of Ramayana is that the ancient Ayodhya will be like somewhere in Kurukshetra, and Birana is a kind of an important candidate location for the ancient Ayodhya on the banks of Saraswati, that is Abaya river. Because Ikshwaku is considered as a direct son of Manu. So Ikshwaku will be almost contemporary to Manu, and so Manu was active in the Abaya river. So the next generation of Manu can be somewhere closer along the Abaya river, and Bhirana is a very good place where we can locate the Manu actually. Sorry, Ikshwaku. Just a minute, I will take this chart once again. So actually this is a subject of my second book. But see, Manu is here, right? Manu is here along the Apaya river, which is the ancient Saraswati, and Birana is here. So if Manu has got a son and he made a great city, then that would be Birana. That is the ancient Ayodhya. So that is somewhere here, like that. Even Rakhighari is another candidate, but I am just mentioning this is also a possibility, right? Like that. Yeah, and I think I missed one point is like, no, there is another theory about Rishabdwadi is floating around in the internet circles, which consider Rishabdwadi as a river coming from this Pushkar Lake, etc. But these are all fringe theories, and I have rejected that theory because these people don't know that there is another important Ṛgvedic river flowing in this towards the south, the Shifa river, that is today known as Sahibi river. So there is no possibility for any other river like Drashadwati to flow in the same, occupy the same drainage system. So if you read my book in the chapter on Drashadwati, you will also see I am also rejecting this particular theory that Drashadwati was flowing from the Pushkar Lake, like from the south to north direction, etc. This is totally fringe theory, have no geographical support. But no, why I am saying is this particular theory is floated by the Aryan invasion theory people to just project that no, we don't have good clarity on Drishadvati. Just only for that purpose, they are introducing another theory about Drishadvati. So I have very confidently rejected that particular kind of theory because we already have a Shifa river, which is flowing in the same drainage area, and it will not give a scope for another river to flow in that region.
So we'll conclude the session with Shadivanta. Om Lokaah Samastaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaah Samastaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaah Samastaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.